Hello, everyone. Welcome to another evening of stamping. My name is Sarah Simon. Thank you all for jumping on here tonight. I'm so excited to have you with me. I have a different setup that I'm trying tonight. We're trying to get this right. I don't have the equipment that I need to be using the camera that I'm using, but it was supposed to come today with Amazon, but it's coming tomorrow. So we jimmy rigged something at the last minute to try to work. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I apologize for having to move my live from last night to tonight. I know a couple of people said that they're going to have to be watching the replay because they couldn't make it tonight. With my new job, there's a couple of committees that I'm on at church, and one of them met last night. It meets on Tuesday night once a month, and it happened to be last night at 6:00. So I couldn't quite be at that meeting till 7 and then still do a live. So I decided to move it to tonight. So thank you all for joining me. I do have some happy mail to share with you. Tonight, I am going to pick the winner of our creative challenge, and holy cow, you guys just knocked it out of the park with that one. I hope that you went back and looked at some of the cards that people posted because they were absolutely gorgeous. So I would say hello to all of you, but so many people have popped on that I'm afraid that I would miss somebody. So if you have questions, ask them. If I don't answer, then please just ask the question again. And I do have some other demonstrators that watch me. And sometimes if I don't catch the question and they know the answer, sometimes they will answer as well. And I thank them in advance for that. So on to Happy Mail. Look at this beautiful card. I already had this one last week, and I forgot two of the cards that I had gotten. So this was a thank you from Lisa Paff, and she was thanking me for all that I did for Xavier over the years. Oh, let me tell you, starting a new job and not really being done with your other job because they have to pay me out my vacation. So I have to go back there for one day, July 2nd or 3rd. We haven't decided yet. It's supposed to be the 3rd, but my supervisor's off that day because of the 4th. So he would like me to come in the 2nd. So they're trying to figure it out with HR to see if I can come in the 2nd and still get paid for my last day of vacation. To me, it doesn't matter. But they haven't hired anyone. Nobody has even applied for my job. Oh, and there's so much that has to be done before the beginning of the school year that I've kind of been working on it on the side at night and doing things like that to try to help them out. But let me tell you, after July 3rd, I'm going to have to cut that because I just don't have time to do two jobs and do this. So we might be quitting. Hopefully they find somebody. If you're a tech person, you're a teacher, and you're interested and you want to do a job in Appleton, apply. You can go to We Can and find the job posting. All right, then look at this beautiful card. You've got this. And this is from Kim Metalman, and she was wishing me the best as I started my new job. So pretty. And then look at this beautiful card. This is, I think it's called a spotlight because they spotlight one area and colored it. This is from my upline, Kelly. She needed to do a swap, and she needed to do use the turtle set, and she didn't have it. So she borrowed the bundle for me. She had the paper, she had the embossing folder. She just didn't have the bundle. So she borrowed it for me, and she was returning it and put a thank you on there for me. So I haven't used the turtles yet for a live. So I'm going to do that. I know a lot of people don't like the turtles. There's some really cute elements to it. And if it's for a kid's party or something like that, they're kind of cute, I think. So anyhow, let's start with our first prizes. So last week I made the cards that you need to do. And I don't know, I have a glue dot on here. There we go. This was the first card, a wedding card. And that's what it looked like on the inside. And I'm going to put this back on here. Is this backwards for you? I should look. No, it's the right way. Okay. I'm doing some different things. So to me, that looks backwards, but to you, it looks the right way. So that's good for me. So receiving this for commenting last week. So anytime you comment, a lot of you have commented already, and thank you for doing that. Your name gets put into a drawing. You'll each get assigned a number, and I randomly draw a number. And receiving this card in the mail for commenting last week is Angelique. So Angelique, I don't know if you're on here tonight, but I will get this off in the mail. I do have your address. And then the second card we made was this card with the pot and the bowl. And again, it opened this way. We put a little designer paper there, and then it opened down. Some of you opened yours up instead of opening them down. Lisa, I think, did a landscape one, and she kind of made a faux belly band, so it didn't go all the way around. She kind of attached what was in the middle to each end, which is perfectly fine to do. Some of you had some very, very unique cards. I absolutely love them. So receiving this for sharing. So if you hit that share button anywhere on, whether it's on Facebook or if it's on YouTube, you can send an email link to somebody, however you share. Make sure you write that you shared somewhere in one of the comments so that I know that you shared. And so receiving this card for sharing last week is Sue Thomas. So Sue, I'm pretty sure I have your address. I didn't even look it up, but I'm pretty sure I have your address. So I will be getting that off in the mail to you. Where did I put my... Okay, I can show you what the person's getting. I obviously did not set them but we're using them for one of the cards. So receiving a pack of these flat pearls, the in color flat pearls, for placing an order last week is Christine Andrade. I have to tell you a story about this. So Christine is another demonstrator, but she placed an order with me because at our team meeting, which was last week when I was doing my live, so I wasn't even at the team meeting, Kelly ended up telling them that I was very close to earning my incentive trip. And so she wanted to help me along a little bit. So she placed an order, and she just happened to be drawn to win these as well. So I guess one good deed deserves another, right? So I will be getting these off in the mail, not the used ones, but the full pack to you, Christine. Thank you so much for your order. And for all of you who placed orders, I am getting very, very close. Oh, I can almost sense it. And it's so fun because our theme for Vacation Bible School this summer is True North, and it's a whole Alaskan theme with, the Northern Lights and all kinds of stuff. So it's been kind of fun planning all of it because we've been doing some history of Alaska and stuff like that. And I do have to say that as a disclaimer, less than 1% of Stampin' Up! Demonstrators worldwide earn the trip. So it is a real honor when we do it. Okay, are you ready for the big prize? So those of you who participated in my creative challenge and posted a picture on Facebook, or I had one person send me a picture and I posted that for them. Your names are all in my wheel of names. Let me go ahead and change to, let's see, which one is that? That is this one right here. Yep, there it is. Okay, so all those names are in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the wheel. And when I spin the wheel, whoever's name it lands on, if I don't already have your email address, you are going to have to email me, or I'll try to send you a message to tell you I need your email address, createwithsarahllc@gmail.com. And what I will be doing is I will be gifting you $50 in rewards. So I'm going to be giving you $50 of my rewards from my Stampin' Up! Account will go to you. Now, these rewards are a little bit different than the rewards that you earn yourself. So the rewards that I gift to you have to be used within 90 days. So you want to make sure that you order something in the next 3 months because otherwise they will go away. You will be able to see the date that they expire on them. So let me get to that tab, and I'm going to go ahead and click to spin it, and we'll wait and see who it ends up on. It looks like it's going to be Karen Roofing. Congratulations, Karen. You are the lucky winner of the $50. And so I do have your email address. And so I will go ahead and I will, tonight yet, I will gift you the $50. You should get an email, and it should let you know that those, that's gifted to you. And I believe you have to like accept them or something. So you will get an email. So yay, Karen's on here. Congratulations, Karen. So are you ready to get stamping? So what we're going to be doing tonight, I wanted to do one of the layouts, one of those easy layouts that they have at the front of the catalog. So I took one of those and I kind of bumped it up a little bit and added a few other things so that it wasn't completely simple layout, but it's still very easy to do. And I wanted to show you the kind of things that I give to my demonstrator or the people who sign up for my color club. So this is one of the cards for my color club. And if you are in my color club, I apologize up and down. Life has been crazy. I finished the last of the cards for this month because we're doing 2 colors this month. So I had to do 6 cards for all of you. I have all of the color combinations all printed and ready to go. And I have the cards ready to go. So my plan is to bill you tonight and drop them off at your house tomorrow. So I apologize it's taken this long. And I'm going to start to work on the July ones on the weekend so that you get those a little bit earlier. So for those of you who don't know what a color club is, there are people who signed up to be in my color club. We pick a color each month. But because we started a little bit late, we did 2 colors, and there is no ink pad for the cloud cover. And so I'm going to show you tonight how you can fix that and how I am giving them a color, even though we don't have the stamp pad. And I threw that in for free. But you pay each month. And by the time we get to September, I think it's September, you will have all 5 of the new in colors. You get a pack of paper, a bolt of ribbon, the blends, a marker. You get some of the designer paper that I'll show you tonight. And you get a little treat from me. And you get the re-anchor, everything that you need for each of the colors. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what those cards are that you get if you ever in the future, next year, want to join my color club. So let's go ahead and flip this to my gem demonstration. So I wanted to have the catalog here. I'm going to turn my overhead light off because it gets rid of some of the shadows. And hopefully I've got it lit up here enough. It was really good last night because it was nice and sunny. Tonight it's raining here. So I do have my little ring. So here's our annual catalog. And one of the new things that they put in the catalog starting last year is they put these designs. So I got to figure out which way I got to go. I got to go this way. Okay, so they put these card designs. Now they added cards and tags. I think they started doing that and I'm a little blurry with this new camera that I thought was going to be clearer, but I apologize for that. They started putting these in the catalogs last year, and then they put them in all of the mini catalogs as well. These are like super easy ideas for you to do with some of our mix and match products. They also, this time, because since the last catalog, we acquired Creative Memories, and so they made scrapbook pages as well. So if you are a scrapbooker, know that they've got some different templates that you can also follow just a couple of pages down. So the one that we're going to be doing tonight is this one right here. Whoops, there we go. So this I did. So it's got 3 different blocks of paper on a card front. And this is supposed to be a sentiment or a greeting, the thing that's kind of different shaped. Now you could do these in circles. I ended up doing in rectangles, just like they did on there. And I'll give you the dimensions that I used for the paper. And I apologize that this is so blurry. Honestly, last night when I did it, it was crystal clear. And I was like, yes, this looks so great. I'm so happy that it's really clear. And it wasn't doing, when I had my document camera, it was zooming in and zooming out and zooming in and zooming out. And it was like, oh, I can't stand this. I think I maybe have to, instead of my lights over the top, maybe put them on from the side. So I'm going to play with it a little bit this week because I'm not completely happy with this. So I apologize that it is just a tad bit blurry. So we are going to use cloud cover tonight. And so let me grab my pieces here. So I did a card base with the cloud cover, and this measures 4¼ by 11, and I scored it at 5½. So it's going to be that hot dog looking fold that we have for this card base. And then I have 2 pieces of basic white. This is going to be my first layer on the outside, and this is going to be for the inside. Now, it doesn't show it on that card. It doesn't show that there's a layer. It just shows that those pieces, those rectangles are right on this card front. This is where I took a few liberties of my own, and I added this layer. Then I decided that the pieces that I used didn't quite fill up this full layer. So I decided to cut 1/8 of an inch smaller. And it looks like I didn't cut 1/8 of an inch smaller. So let me get my paper trimmer. I think I decided to do this later. My paper trimmer, I think, is in my kitchen. Hang tight. I brought a bunch of stuff up north this weekend, and my paper trimmer was one of them. So it was still sitting in there. So this is actually 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I was just going to put this one layer, and I thought it needed just something a little bit more, and I forgot to go back and recut that. So I redid it as I was making it the other day. Okay, so this is going to go on there. So it's just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So I love how it looked. There's just that white on white, and then how that looks on the cloud cover. Okay, then we have, this is going to be for the inside. So that's my embossed layer, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I'm using the DSP. That is the, you can get this in all of the color families. So there are 2 patterns that are 2-sided. So you've got 4 different patterns with each of the colors. So here's the first pattern. Now, when you do a color family, you get 2 of each one. When you get the in colors, you actually get 4 of each one because there are less in colors than there are colors in a color family. So here is one side, and then there is the back side. And then here is the second one. Get those spread out for you. And then here is the back side of that. Okay, so you get a pack of this with my color club. So they each get a pack of this, and I give that to them the first month so that they have it for playing with the rest of the time. So I used that DSP and the cloud cover. So this is my biggest piece, and this is 1½ by 2 3/4. And then I have my next biggest piece, my medium-sized piece, is 1 1/4 by 2 1/2. And then my smallest piece is 1 inch by 2 1/4. It doesn't say that in the book. I just kind of made that up. Okay, so those are the sizes that I did kind of based on that. And then I have a 3/4 inch piece. I did 3/4 instead of half, so you could see a little bit of the leaves. This only has to be by 4 inches. It's still by 6 inches because I just cut it off. So that's just going to be for our inside. All right. I have a scrap of the cloud cover. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp. We're going to use this stamp that says birthday wishes. And I want to cut around it, kind of like that picture showed that it was kind of cut around the greeting. And to kind of help us, because we don't have dies to do that, one thing that you can do if you have a hard time figuring out how to cut around it, I'm going to put this aside. I'll bring it back when I have the card made and put it next to it. So what you can do is you can take a pencil and you can trace around your stamp. Now, the photopolymer is a little bit harder to do than our red rubber. The red rubber is a little bit easier, but you can go ahead and with a pencil trace around here to kind of help guide your scissors when you are ready to start cutting it out. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. I'm going to bring in some Versamark ink. I wanted to go with that blue and white color. And now I'm just going to line up my stamp inside of that penciled image. Okay, and then I'm going to take white embossing powder. I just get these. These are actually Rubbermaid containers, so you could probably look for Rubbermaid. I got mine in the refrigerator section of Meijer here. I don't know if Meijer is something that's nationwide or if it's just something that's Wisconsin. I'm not sure. I love it because I can get anything I need there. Craft stuff, hardware stuff, electronics, food, you name it. It's kind of like a step up from Walmart. All right, then I would heat emboss this. And through the magic of TV, I have the heat embossing done. Okay, I'm going to set this over here so that I can do that again. I can emboss it later and use it. And then what I want to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut just inside that pencil mark because I don't want the pencil mark left over. If you do get a little bit of pencil mark left, all you have to do is erase it. That's why I did it with a pencil and not a pen. Now you could just do this on your own if you wanted to and figure out how to cut around it. But some people are like, it makes me a little nervous cutting around it. I never know how close should I cut or when should I make a little divot? When should I go down? When should I go up so that it's cut all the way around it? And if you just follow the pattern of the stamp, it makes it a pretty good cut for cutting out your greeting. Okay, so there's our birthday wishes, and it looks like I did it with a die, right? And I just fussy cut it. So I'm going to put that away. And I'm going to show you the reason Stampin' Up! Does not have an ink pad for cloud cover is because they noticed that with the formula that they have for our foam stamping, our stamp pads, and whatever the formula is that they make this ink, it changes the color over time. And sometimes the color doesn't look anything like the blue. It looks way too gray. And so they weren't happy with the quality of it. And because they weren't happy with the quality of it, and they really couldn't change the formula for the ink or it wouldn't look the same, they discontinued the stamp pad. So you can get the markers, and the markers are actually online exclusives. And you could always use a marker and you could color the stamp, or you can get these Stampin' Spots. They come 5 in a pack, and you could do this with other colors that you maybe don't use as much. So you don't want to spend the money to have a full ink pad. It's cheaper to just get, you can get 5 of these and you can get the re-inkers. And all you do, these are white like that. You just open up your re-inker and you just squeeze it until you have your ink pad covered. And you can continue to re-ink these. And then I would probably just take like a label of some sort and put that on there and mark it as cloud cover so that you know what it is. Because you really like looking at this right now, how would you know that that's cloud cover? You wouldn't. So if there's a color that you're like, oh, I'd like to have it, but I don't want to pay the money for a big, for the stamp pad, you can get 5 of these and get the re-inkers. Usually when I get a stamp pad, I get the re-inker anyway, because I want to be able to, I stamp a lot with my pads and they're used for classes where they're open a lot. And so I like to re-ink them almost after every class so that they're the quality that, and the they're dark enough for everything that I'm going to use them for. Okay, why did I do that stamp? We're going to actually stamp on the inside. We're going to stamp a greeting on the inside. And this is coming from our beautiful butterfly stamp set. It just says time to celebrate. And so I'm going to go ahead and ink up this stamp with my Stampin' Spot. And because it's a Stampin' Spot, instead of having the stamp come to the ink, it's so tiny that I bring the ink to the stamp like that. And then I just go ahead and press it down and hold. And there is our greeting. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add, this is 6 inches, so I don't need all of it. I'm going to be trimming a little bit off. That was another second thought as well. Like, oh, I should add a little strip of the paper to the inside as well. So there you go. And if you wanted to, you could have put this one too. So you had all 4 of the pieces of paper that we were going to use. All right, this can go ahead. Let me cover up my spot. Set this over here. And go ahead. So the Stampin' Spots are the same type of fabric. They're like a linen-y type fabric. That's like our Memento ink. And so that's why the formula that works with the cloud cover keeps the color the way it's supposed to be in those, and it doesn't on the other one because it's a different material. Okay, what we're going to do with this, our picture had the largest piece kind of down over here, and then it had the smallest piece kind of with the same amount of indentation. So I'm just kind of dry fitting this right now. And then it had the medium sized piece like that. And then our greeting came somewhere in here. So it's just a simple layout. I'm actually going to use liquid glue on the embossed stuff because then it gets between all the different raised layer, the lower layer of this. Let me get this out of the way. So I'm just going to start down here with that piece. Give that a good push on there. You know, you could use dimensionals if you wanted to. I'm actually going to use dimensionals on the greeting. So on these layers, I just put them down regular. All right, then I'm going to put the smallest one. So I used all of the different patterns on this. Okay, so I kind of looked and I noticed that on the picture, they had about the same amount there as they had over here. And they had about the same amount in between there, maybe just a little bit less. So I just kind of copied that. I didn't know exactly what the dimensions were. Their dimensions might have been different. And so, but I tried to cut it until it looked a little bit like that picture. Hey, Becky. Okay, this is going to go over here. Yeah, Ella says she likes that color. I really like this color too. It's one of my favorites. Actually, this month was cloud cover and it was strawberry slush. And I love both of those colors. And I really like, honestly, the in colors are really growing on me. I keep going to them. The Secret Sea, I think, is beautiful. I didn't know at first if I liked the Darling Duckling. And, you know, I'm a yellow person, but I really do like it a lot. And so I find that I keep grabbing them. I'm putting quite a few dimensionals on here. I probably don't need this many, but we're going to make sure it stays in place. I'm going to actually glue this down to the front, and then I'm going to raise the white. It's going to be white on white. Just added a little bit more dimension to it. So go ahead and take this off. I don't know where I see it. I see it. I'm like, I don't know where my greeting went. It's underneath my ribbon, my bow maker here. I don't know how it fell underneath there, but it fell underneath it. I can see it sneaking out. That's going to be the next thing. I lose my greeting and we have to do it all over. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this down. I'm going to make sure I'm going the right way. I am. Okay. So just that little bit Look at that, how that adds just a little bit. And it's just white on white, one of them embossed. So that's one of the little liberties that I took to change up a little bit. Here's my greeting. That's going to go like kind of right in there on dimensionals. Okay, and then I thought I just needed something else yet. So, hi, Sue Thomas. You won tonight, Sue Thomas, one of my drawings. So, and thank you for telling people to put the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I'm not sure what it does for me, but I know it helps. So I appreciate that. Oops, I think I just moved my camera. There we go. See, I don't have a really good stand for it right now. So let's see. We're going to go ahead. This is some of our Essentials Baker's Twine. And I'm just going to make a bow with the white that is in it. I have to say that I use the white and the black, and I always forget about the gray and the crumb cake. And then at the end, I have so much of that left, and then I'm out of the white. So I got to learn to use the other colors as well. Okay, let's see here. Let's get this little loop looking a little bit better. There we go. I think that'll help. Might even put the glue dot so that it holds it in place. I'm going to go ahead, cut this off, and we'll take a glue dot, and I'm just going to take it and kind of roll it up in a ball, and I'm going to place it right where I want the knot to be on my card, right underneath where it says birthday wishes there. And then I'm just going to push this into that glue dot. And that should help hold this a little bit. There we go. Well, it just keeps wanting to twist, doesn't it? Let's see if I can. I've got such fat fingers when all this little stuff. There we go. I think I got it to hang on to that. And I'm going to trim these up just a little bit. And then Christine won those in color pearls. These are nice and flat, super, super flat. And so we're just going to put a couple of these. I'm going to put the biggest one and the smallest one. And then I think I'm going to put the medium sized one down there. So there is our first card. It's just a simple layout. Now, you could do this one, just stamp ink and paper and not even use the embossing machine. But I wanted to add that little bit of embossing on there, and that's the eyelet embossing folder. And then we've got our greeting on the inside. So you could do this one, just stamp ink and paper and not have to use the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, but I liked how it looked with it. So, all right. And I will add, I do have some of the paper here. I've got some right here. Let's see. Let's take this one. I really like this pattern. I know this is going to be more than I need, but I think that's my favorite pattern is the flower. So a lot of the cards that I make for the In Color Club. So this was one of their cards. I've got 3. I should show you all of them. They're in the other room though, all packaged and kind of ready to go. Maybe I'll show you next week because I have a extra of each one. But this was one of them. So if you're in my In Color Club, you're getting to see one of the cards that you're going to be getting. I brought it all up to the cottage and I got so what I do is I give them 5 color combinations. So 2 colors that they could combine with it that would have a really nice look. That's different than our color coach. So they get those printed. And so I got all of that done. I got those all figured out and I got those all done. I came home and I printed them and then I put them in like a little clear holder, 3-ring binder type holder. And then they get those so that they can go and look when they're trying to make cards with that color. They have some color combinations. So there is our first card. Super easy, but very dainty and very pretty. I liked how it turned out when I was all finished. So, all right. So that is card number 1. here was another one that I made. Looks pretty similar. All right, card number 2 is going to be using some preview, sneak peek products. I wanted to, there's a layout that I have seen, a card that I've seen using the Everyday Arches that I have been dying to try. I have seen so many really, really cool cards with it. And a lot of them with the Beautiful World, I think it is, paper. I got the directions from Amy Kanders, Koenders. I think that's how you pronounce her name. But she goes by Stamp with Amy K. And she always gives the dimensions of things when she, along with the video. Oh, you know what? Speaking of dimensions, here we go. She does keep her blog up, but she doesn't work another job. I do. And so here are the dimensions for that card. So this is DSP number 1, that's number 2, and that's number 3. So the biggest one, the middle one, and the smallest one. All right. Hopefully you got a chance to take a screenshot of that. All right. So she made this like tri-layer card with the Everyday Arches, and I've been seeing them all over the place, and I really wanted to see how to make them. And so I looked at her video, looked at her dimensions, but I used some of this new sneak peek paper. This is called Floral Charm, I think, or Charming Floral. It's really hard to see it when they're all together. So here's pattern number 1, and there's pattern, the second side. This is going to be available to you in July as an online exclusive. This is the pattern we're going to use today. Isn't that gorgeous? And there is the back. This looked very fall-like colors to me already. I think you could do, I think there's like some peach pie in there, and even some of the Timid Tiger. And then there's the back. The backs are all kind of like a watercolory. That's so pretty. And then look at that. Here's the next pattern. And there's the back. That is Berry Burst. We're going to be using Berry Burst tonight. This, I think, is my favorite of all of them. But I challenged myself to use a different color instead of that one. And then there's the back with the pretty peacock. Isn't that gorgeous paper? So that is the paper. And then the stamp set, did I grab it? Yes, I did. It's called Charming Day. And there's a happy birthday. We're going to use the thanks for being you, and you made my day. So it could be a thank you card. These flowers you can stamp and color and cut them out. You could do like a watercolor with them to go along with the watercolor paper that's on there. And then the dies. There are dies to cut out the stamps, but then there are also these other dies that give you just like a whole grouping of flowers. And then if you wanted to, you could cut just the flower out. That's what we're going to do. We've got this one that has just leaves. There's this one that looks like a beautiful flower. And you could cut this out in 2 different colors if you wanted to, and then just cut the top part off and layer it on top of it. So like I could do, I could cut this out in an old olive, and then I could cut it out in, let's say I wanted it in a Berry Burst. I could leave the old olive one, and I could cut the Berry Burst one off here and put that on top of the old olive one so that you have a colored flower and bottom. Or you could do it in white, and you could just sponge the colors. There's a lot of different ways that you could use that. So, and Kathy Miller is going to be making a display with this at an event, a Stampin' Up! Event that we're going to be going to at the Paper Valley in Appleton, Wisconsin. And so I'm so excited to see what she does with that. And then look at these gems. These are just gorgeous. Can you see those sparkle? I think the camera picks it up pretty good, making them sparkle. This has like a petal pink and Berry Burst, and then the Night of Navy. Look at how they just sparkle. I just love, love, love these. This one had a ribbon with it. Let me grab the ribbon real quick. I didn't use it, obviously, in this card, but it is a petal pink. And it is, it comes with this little tape on the end. I'm thinking because it must like unravel very easily. Let me take that off. Yeah, look at that. You could pull it apart and you could use it as like little strings and stuff. Look at how that comes apart. That looks so cool. Maybe we'll have to add it. I'll see if we can add it to my card because there is a little bit of pink in my card. Look at that. So cool. Okay, so that is coming in July. And I know, why do you do it now and tease us? I am going to, Kathy and I were talking, we think we're going to do a to-go class with this bundle. And I hope to, within the next week or so, get all of the details so that if you're looking at this and going, oh my gosh, I need to have that, and you want to have some cards that are made with it and get the bundle from us and get like a little gift from us and all of that kind of stuff. We always have little gifts that we put in with our cards, and so, or with our card kits. And so I think that's going to be Kathy's first one back after the wedding. So her daughter gets married this weekend. It's so exciting. It's at a campground. It's like a wedding destination type campground in Wapaka. So it's about 40 minutes from here. And that's where my parents' cottage is. But my sister's going to be up there this weekend. So I think I'm going to drive from home. And then summer is so hard to get volunteers for children's liturgy. So I'm going to be doing children's liturgy at Mass on Sunday. So I get to take all the little kids and read the gospel with them. It's kind of a fun thing to do. I haven't done it because it's one ministry I haven't done at church. So it'll be my first time. So it should be kind of fun. All right, let's see. Here are the dimensions. This one is super, super, super easy. There's only one thing that you have to cut and score. Let me grab the... Okay, so the base of our card is this piece right here. So this is 3 inches by 10 3/4. So I basically just cut off 1/4 of an inch. And then I scored at 3.5 from this end and 3.5 from that end. Super easy. This is our base. Okay, but then in our everyday arches, I think Melanie said she used hers today. Sorry, I keep hitting this. It's going to be better when I get the new stand that's meant to hold this and the camera, the new camera. So these are the everyday arches. Love, love, love these. I use these all the time. So we are going to be doing, I cut 3 of the Knight of Navy. Okay, so I have 3 Knight of Navy, and this is the second from the largest one. Okay, so that's that one. Then I cut 3 of the Berry Burst with the next one down. So the third from the largest. So there are 3 of those. And then for this one, that's one smaller than that. So the 4th largest one, I cut 1 basic white. That's going to be for my inside. I cut 1 in this pattern. That's going to be for my outside. And then this is going to be for the middle one. I cut the back side of this, which I thought was just gorgeous too. Okay, so those are the pieces. I also did, this is from our Spotlight on Nature. That's one of the circles that are in there. And then this is a 1 3/4 inch. And what I love about that is that a little bit of the Berry Burst is coming out the ends, but it's also coming through those little things that are cut out that look kind of like a little floral image. All right. I took that leaf die that was in there, and I have 3 of the Knight of Navy leaves. Okay, so I cut 3 of those ahead of time. I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me cut all of those. And I also cut 1 of these flowers that we're going to use. All right, that is it. All right, let's do our stamping. Let's do our stamping. Then we'll put together. So the stamping is super, super simple on this. I used these 2. Looks like I didn't clean them after I made them last night. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I thought I did, but I'm not going to like it. Kind of gotten a little bit late because I was reading all my emails from my other job, my last job, and responding to some of those and taking care of some of the stuff that had to be taken care of for that. So this says, thanks for being you. I'm going to try to get that right in the middle here. Ooh, I did a pretty darn good job of that. Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to stamp, you made my day. Now, I left room here to write a message because there isn't really another place to write the message. So I didn't put anything else on here. You could put a little strip of the paper down here if you didn't want to have that much room. You could take one of the floral images from here. You could take like this floral image and you could put it down in the corner. You could do whatever you wanted to do. I kind of left it blank because I thought that would be a good place to write a message. All right. Oh, Joan, you used to do children's liturgy as well. Yeah, they give you some ideas, and some of the ideas, I'm not going to lie, the idea that they had this time, we pay for this, all of the materials. It wasn't a very good idea. I couldn't see myself doing it. So I came up with something else. So I have everything planned. So I'm all set and ready to go. They do get a little worksheet that they work on as well. So it's not that difficult to do, but you can't like just show up. You actually have to, you have to look at it a little bit ahead of time, and you have to kind of know what you're doing because you can't fool little kids, right? If you're kind of making it up as you go. All right. This one is going to get layered. Each of my smallest ones that we have are going to get layered on the Berry Burst. Love these colors together. And then the Berry Burst. Now I could have used Petal Pink, I guess, here because it looks like that looks a little bit more like Bubble Bath, but they did have Petal Pink as one of the colors. I just didn't think that that looked like Petal Pink. Kind of forgot about the ribbon that went with this. I was like looking at adding a ribbon and I'm like, I think I'm just going to leave it without the ribbon, but maybe we'll add the little Petal Pink. Okay, here's my other one. And we'll attach that. I just loved the navy and the Berry Burst together. I thought it looked really nice. And I didn't come up with that color combination. I just took it from what was in the paper. I looked at the back and they said Night of Navy and they said Berry Burst. I'm like, that's what I'm using. All right. And then we're going to add this one to here. Add it on the front. I love how these layer. Like sometimes you get dies that like there's too much space between the circles. And so you wouldn't layer like 3 of them together like this because there's, there's so much in between them. But these are so closely put together that I think it looks good when you put 3 of them together like that. Okay, I'm going to put these on in a little bit. Let's go ahead and finish putting our card together. So on the left-hand side, we're going to have a mountain fold. On the right-hand side, we're going to have a valley fold, and we're going to go ahead, and I don't know where my bone folder is probably in with the stuff that I brought to my cottage this weekend. Okay, so we've got our mountain and we've got our valley. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and this is really good. When Amy did it, she put it on graph paper like this, which really made sense. So here's my middle one, and I'm going to start with my middle one. And what I want to do is I want the bottom part. So this is all, I have it going straight along this line on my graph paper. I want this to set so it's one line below that, and then I want it centered between my 2 score lines. So I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive. Now, if you like glue, you can use glue. It doesn't have to be the Stampin' Seal. But I'm going to look and try to center this between there and then line it up along that line that's on the bottom. And you just do your very best. And you hope that in the end, it all lines up. And mine did. The very first one I did, I was like, oh, it lined up. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the right. And again, I'm going to go ahead and line this up. So we lined it up along the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see how much space is there between this score line and where this edge is. And what I want to do is I want to leave about the same amount of space to the right of that as was. So I'm going to, again, line it up along the bottom. And I'm going to look, there's my score line. I want about the same amount of space. Make sure I'm along the bottom line there and just set that down. Okay, and then I'm going to do the third one over here. So again, I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive. I'm going to line it up along the bottom. And now I want to look and see however much space is between the edge and that score line. I want to leave the same amount of space so that they line up. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to measure it. But it should be close enough that you can then fold this and they set on top of each other, but then they stand up like that. Isn't that cool? I've been seeing these cards all over and I'm like, I want to make one of those. And so I saw it on Amy's and I'm like, oh, she always gives the dimensions afterwards so I can go back and look at the dimensions. And I watched her video. I'm like, absolutely beautiful card, right? So I am going to, I didn't put this down with dimensionals, but I'm thinking I want to. Nope, it's in the middle. I want it just to go, the way I had it. So I had it like that. And then I just took one of these and stuck that little thing up there to have something in the middle. So I'm just going to liquid glue, put it where it was supposed to be. That doesn't always happen. And I'm just going to throw a little bit. I'm almost out of glue, and sometimes that's the best thing because it doesn't come out as fast. You barely have to squeeze it at all normally. Okay. I can be sometimes heavy-handed, but I did a pretty good job there. Just going to put that down in that corner. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue. I think I used glue dots when I made this last night. Yeah, I came home from my meeting and I'm like, okay, I got to make a card. Knew I was going to take one of my cards from my card club. I didn't want to do all of them. So I picked the one that I wanted to do, and I did that. Okay, now this is going to go up on dimensionals, and it kind of depends on where you've got busy stuff in your paper. So there's kind of busy stuff here. So I think I'm going to put this more up there, and maybe on this one, let me see. On the one that I did last night, I ended up putting one down below and one up above, but there might not be enough room, or we'll just have 3 of these. Yeah, we can just have like little 3 of them sticking up there. I wouldn't, like the one I did yesterday, I ended up putting here because it wasn't as busy in that area. So you can kind of just check where your paper is. And I would probably put it where it's less busy, and then put your little leaves down. So I'm just going to put a dimensional in the center of that to raise it up over there. And then we'll add a little glue and pop that underneath here. Oh, you know what? If I'm going to do ribbon, this is probably where I should do it. I should have done it underneath here. Let's see. See, I just don't think that goes with it. Whoops, you can't see that. My hand's in the way. That just doesn't go with that. We're not going to do the ribbon. I didn't do the ribbon before. We're not going to do the ribbon now. I kind of forgot the ribbon went with this because I didn't pick one of the other papers has more of the petal pink. If this has a different lighter pink, I would say it looks more bubble bath than it does petal pink. I don't know that petal pink, and I'm going to cut a little bit of this off. Here's my scissors. Just want those 3 little ones up there on top. That's better. Okay, and then, oh, these little sparkles. See, they're still sparkling. I just love that. I'm going to go ahead and I didn't cut these off here. I'll slide this out. It's easier to slide it in and out. I think I'm going to use pink again. And again, I'm just going to try to find some spots that are a little more open. So there's one there. And we'll put one there. And I think I'll just pop one up right. Maybe I'll put it right there on the bottom there. Okay, so there is our card. Oops, I got to bring it down a little bit. Thanks for being you. And then you open it up. You made my day. So when somebody does something nice for you and it's just like their natural thing to do, but they really made your day, this would be a great card to send to them. Okay, and I did get a piece of that paper out so that we can add it to the flap of our envelope here. Do we want that or this? Whoops. I think I like this. I like all the color in that. But I like how these two go together. And I just thought that flower just kind of fit right in with that. You could probably put something over here too, if you wanted to. We'll go ahead. And sometimes you get like a stamp set that has like 3 greetings that go together. You could put a greeting in each layer if you wanted to. Whoops, there's my, I have that. I could actually even, I didn't put that very straight. That's kind of crooked on there. Let's see here. If I cut this out. You could either pop that. I think I'm going to pop it up here. Maybe not. Just put it right there. There we go. We just added just a little bit to that side. And there's our finished card. I just love this paper. I think it's going to be really, really popular. I think it's going to be fun to play with. And I think it's going to make a great card kit to go. So if you are a demonstrator and you already got this pre-order stuff, just know that I do sell the PDFs as well. And if you wanted to join my team, I give all of my team members a free PDF along with the video that shows how to make all of the cards. So they don't have to buy their stuff from me. I just give them all of the PDFs for free. So yes, so that's going to be a, whoops, this is the one that I made tonight because it's still twisted here a little bit. I got to get that straight. I think if I put another glue dot in there, it'll work, but I'll do that off camera because it's frustrating me right now. All right, so there are our 2 cards tonight. Yay! I will be live. I'm planning to go live next week, Tuesday. I have nothing going on Tuesday, believe it or not. And so I will be going back to on Tuesday, and I promise not to change on you again. I'm trying to think if there's anything that you have seen that you would like me to do, or there's a stamp set that you've seen either in the online exclusives or the catalog, and you haven't seen anybody demonstrate it yet. And if I have it, I would, oh yeah, thank you. Measurements with the finished product. Okay. So it's 3 inches by 10 3/4, scored at 3.5 from each end. So that's your little back piece right here. So it's scored at 3.5 and 3.5 from the end. And then we've got 3 of the second largest, 3 of the third largest, and then the inside is 3 of the fourth largest dies. And it's a mountain fold on the left-hand side and a valley fold on that piece on the right-hand side. And it's just like whatever this is that 1/4 of an inch down from the bottom. Okay, thank you for reminding me of that so you could take a screenshot. If there is a stamp set that you have been looking at in the catalog or online exclusives and you love it and no one has demonstrated anything with it, if I have it, let me know because I can try to play around. I'm always looking for, gosh, what should I do next for my live? And so this is something I'd been looking at for quite a while, and I wanted to learn how to do it. And so when I found somebody that did it, I'm like, I'm going to share it. You should look online. Amy K, when she did this, she used the beautiful world. I think that's what it's called. I think I have it here on my desk. I have everything else on my desk. I should have some of it. Here's some of it. Okay, so she like cut this out and she put that here, and then she cut from this side and put it in the middle so that it was like the pattern continued. And then she just took like right here where there was an opening, and she just stamped a thinking of you there. Could make it super simple, and then just layered it on. She did like I think she did a mossy meadow and a lost lagoon or something like that she did with this. I think it was this one that she did. But you could do that with any of these papers. Look at how pretty that is. Yeah, I love this paper a lot. But that's, sometimes people don't know what to do with these scenes. Like, how do I do that? This would be a great way that you could do it. You could put it on these two, because you can get two of the little ones out of here. You do have to make sure you go right up to the edge here and right up to the edge on this side with the smallest one, and you can fit them on. So just some ideas of what else you could do. I didn't have a chance to make anything else, but there are things out there. I don't know what this is called other than the Everyday Arches trifold card. You could try that. And you probably would be able to find some online. Okay, that is it. Let me turn my light back on. I feel like I was in the dark because it's so dark outside because it's raining. I don't even know if it's rain. Yeah, I think it is still raining. Let's see here. I need to do this one. There we go. I'm back. All right. Thank you all for joining me and for all of your comments. I really, really appreciate you supporting me. I hope that I've inspired you to be creative and try something a little bit different. I think Melanie said that she had her Everyday Arches out today. I don't know if you've made one of these cards before, but go ahead and give it a try. It really isn't that difficult to make. It's just a lot of die cutting. But then you can use a lot of different designer paper and just make it really, really easy. So thank you guys so much, or thank you ladies so much for joining me. Like I said, I'll be back to Tuesdays next week. And if you have any suggestions, anything you'd love to see, I'd love for you to share what you would like to see so that I can do something. If it's something 3D, if it's something with a certain stamp set, just go ahead and ask. And if I have it, I'd be happy to try to give you some ideas. All right, I think I'm going to sign off and go get some supper. I also have to feed Lila. She's been hanging around here. I think it's because I forgot to feed her before I came on. What time is it? 7:30. She's fine. She didn't eat all of her breakfast first thing this morning, so she grazed on it all day. So I just have to put a little bit more in her bowl that tonight. So thank you again for joining me. And again, if you hit like, if you share, you get entered into a drawing to possibly win this card next week. So thank you all and have a wonderful week. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.